on Saturday, naming offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell head coach. She cited the interim head coach. She cited the last two losses to the Carolina Panthers and the Thanksgiving game to the Houston Texans as the reasons why to make this move at this point. By the way, on Matthew Stafford, the quarterback, she says that the new regime will decide the future and fate of Matt Stafford as the Lions' longtime quarterback.
And more, today marks the first time that teams have had their travel squads reduced from 69 to 62 players. This is not something that a number of teams were pleased about. The NFL is trying to make the environment safer, but the teams feel like it's having the opposite effect by taking 7 players out of each team's situation and leaving them on their own for the weekend, not having them travel. Teams feel like these players could be more at risk, and you're introducing other factors. Not a situation that teams are particularly thrilled about. The league believes this is the best step moving forward. A perfect example is in New Orleans, where the Saints left behind Teron Armstead, their offensive lineman. The Pro Bowl left tackle tested positive. He's out. Sean Payton's going to have to figure out a way to overcome that. Now, last weekend, Sean Payton flew back for a funeral for Teron Armstead's brother. There were other players on that flight. There was concern there that they were exposed to Armstead. But again, no real obvious positives. This morning, the Saints-Broncos game is on, but Teron Armstead is tested positive, and he is out today, Mort.
Yeah, that's correct. And as far as the Saints, the Ravens go, Lamar Jackson was caught on Thursday. He was identified as somebody who was going on the COVID-19 list. The Ravens had suspected that he may have gotten it from center Patrick McCurry, also COVID positive, during the game, which would have been the first contact in-game transmission. The league does not buy that. He was mostly in a shotgun. None of the Titans' defensive linemen have tested positive. They believe it was because he had close locker room contact with Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins, the two running backs who were, in fact, COVID positive. The first Ravens identified early this week as COVID positive, Sam?
Yeah, because there's so many moving parts in this. I think the NFL in some ways is in an impossible situation trying to figure all this out. But I think from the fans' perspective, at times there is a perceived inconsistency when you're taking things on a case-by-case basis. And when you look at the difference between the Ravens situation and the Broncos situation, it raises a lot of questions even from players. Do you think, Adam, there is inconsistency there, or it's just a lack of understanding on our part?
Well, Sam, what it's about is the NFL basically identifying the cases. It's about isolating the players, and it's about containing the spread. The NFL doesn't care about competitive advantages. That's not what the league is in charge of doing, even though some believe the integrity of the game is compromised with the Broncos being in the situation they are today. The league believes its job is to basically contain the spread of the virus and watch out for that. That's why the Ravens-Steelers game was moved from Thursday night to Sunday to Tuesday, because the spread had not been contained. We still don't know that it is, but the league is determined to forge ahead. With the Broncos, the quarterbacks were not wearing masks, and the league has been very clear that players must wear masks. They must do that at all times in the facility. There was a memo that went out Monday repeating that in all capital letters. And again, it's not the league's job to worry about whether an entire unit is wiped out. It's to make sure that the virus isn't spreading to other players and that other players and coaches are not in harm's way.
Yeah, Adam, it may not be their job to worry about that, but now they got to worry about what's going on in some local government situations with what we're seeing in Santa Clara County. So how do you think they're managing a decision like that?
Well, what's happened here is that the 49ers have been going over this scenario and planning for this scenario since the spring with the NFL. There have been conversations dating back that far to where if that county shut down their structure, their building, their practices, their games, they would be prepared to go to another site like Glendale, Arizona, to perhaps practice, train, and then play their games. The 49ers are scheduled to have 2 home games. They got the news of Santa Clara basically shutting down their county while they were on a bus in Los Angeles yesterday afternoon, and immediately went into discussions with NFL officials about how to best handle it moving forward. But in a season of craziness and chaos, this is the latest example of it.
Yeah, and Adam, and to answer another question, Sam, in an October 13th memo, Commissioner Roger Goodell made it clear to all clubs that this is a health and safety matter, and position groups were not to be even considered in this situation. Now, that's relating to the Broncos and their quarterback situation. They had 4. They could have isolated or semi-quarantined one of them if they had chosen to, but they didn't, and there were some violations there as well. It's also not the first time this has ever happened, by the way. In 1965, Baltimore coach running back Tom Maddie started 2 straight games because of injuries to the quarterbacks, including Johnny Unitas, and Maddie actually went 1-1. Now, this is a different situation, but I will note that some teams, Eagles did it with McCown earlier in this year, but the Buffalo Bills have isolated 5th-round rookie Jake Fromm from the rest of the team all season for a situation just like this. So teams could have acted to protect that position or a position group. In this case, the Broncos did not, Sam.
Yeah. Last thing for you, Adam, really quickly. I know the NFL has been proactive in shutting down the facilities this Monday and Tuesday. What do you think from the NFL's perspective it would take for them to just press pause for an extended period of time, maybe up to 2 weeks?
Well, Sam, think about this. We are 12 weeks into the NFL season, and at a time where cases are spiking across the country, where we're seeing cancellations of college football games, the NFL has not canceled a single game yet. I think that tells you something. I think that tells you that the league is determined to forge forward, even if it means that there are over 11 Ravens players who have tested positive, even if it means the Broncos have to rely on a practice squad wide receiver to play quarterback. The league is determined to move ahead, and people have introduced the idea of an 18th week. Well, that's a last resort, only if necessary. People have introduced the idea of an 8th playoff team in each conference, only if necessary. What is necessary to the league is to continue to try to keep players and coaches safe as best as it can and to get these games played. Let's remember, this is a billion-dollar business. The league's job is to put on these games. And so far, there has not been a single game that has been canceled.
Yeah, Adam, it's been nothing short of incredible that we've even made it to week 12 as well as we have. Thanks for the updates. I know you'll keep us posted throughout the rest of the show. We got a lot of games that are going to be played today, though, that we got a breakdown for you coming up. It's about that time, our Hall of Famers' favorite segment. We've got the best catches from all around the globe in the latest edition of You Got Moss. And Derrick Henry faces a tough test in Indy.